You need to understand that. You also need to understand adults as learners. And in looking at adults as learners, we know that adults are autonomous and self-directed. They want to be free to direct themselves. They want to be active participants. Adults have an accumulation of life experiences and knowledges that can be included in work-related activities, family responsibilities, and education. And you need to be able to make connections with respect to these different experiences as you're working with adults. Adults are goal-oriented. Upon enrolling in a course, they usually know what the goal is that they want to attain, whether it's a grade, whether it's learning certain goals and objectives, or developing certain kinds of skills or an understanding. They're relevancy oriented. They must see reasons for learning something. Learning has to be applicable to their work or other responsibilities to be of value to them. They're practical, focusing on the aspects of lessons most useful for them. Professor, do I really need to have all these books? And adults must be shown respect. They must be shown that you recognize and respect their knowledge and skill. How does this fit as an administrator? How does this fit as a manager, as a supervisor? Well, if you understand something about style and you understand something about learning principles, it enhances your ability to be able to organize a training project or a training program in terms of what your staff need to do or need to accomplish, whether it's understanding the policies and procedures and then developing some application with those policies and procedures, or if it's on a one-on-one, what is it that I need to do in order to motivate my staff or deal with the affective domain of learning, or what is it that I need to know, help them understand in terms of their skills, okay? So I need to recognize that this is how adults learn, and they learn differently as compared to children, in that adults have a wealth of knowledge, they have a wealth of experience, they're very concrete and specifically oriented with respect to the work environment. They need to understand the relevancy and the practicalness, and they need to be shown respect for what it is that they do know. Villa, Villa gives us some additional principles for effective adult learning. These are Villa's 12 principles for effective learning. Factors and principles that you need to understand if you're going to develop a training program, or whether you're going to develop some training for your specific unit, or whether you're going to, again, work with somebody on a one-on-one basis. And needs assessment. Learners need to participate in naming what it is to be learned. They need to be involved and have to have ownership with respect to their learning. So you need to be able to do a survey of your staff. You need to be able to speak with your unit and identify and allow them to have some active participation in terms of what it is that I want to learn. And there's a lot of different ways of doing this. Safety. People need to feel safe in the environment in which they are learning. They need to understand what type of an organizational system are we working in. And if you remember in week 1, we talked about political systems, and we talked about learning organizations. Okay, are you in a learning organization? How many mistakes can you make, and how safe can you be in that particular environment? Sound relationships are very important. Friendships, but not dependency. Fun without trivialization of learning. Dialogue between men and women as peers. Okay, this is how Vella defines a sound relationship. This is part of your reading. Praxis, the Greek word, in terms of, sequence and reinforcement. I guess I'm in a safe environment. I can make a mistake. Sequence and reinforcement. Vella writes that it's important to begin at the beginning and to move from small to big, slow to fast, easy to hard. You need to be able to take learning in an incremental basis in terms of process and giving people tools and giving them a calendar, giving them assignments and breaking those assignments in bite-sized pieces. Whether it's training, whether it's one-on-one, whether you're working with your unit. Okay? Praxis. Action with reflection. The Greek word, praxis. Okay? Action and understanding what it is, that you have done. And being able to do, feel, think, describe, analyze, apply, implement. Okay. Respect for learners. Learners as subject of their own learners, their decision making. You need to be able to recognize that you're giving them this respect in terms of what they're doing. Learning with ideas, feelings, and actions is very important. Okay, the principle of facilitating by engaging with visual and oral arts in terms of multimedia texts, field trips, observations, mentoring. When you're developing an orientation program, allow individuals, your new staff, to be able to go into different environments and see what it's like. Observe them. Have them shadow. Immediacy is important. The principle has to do with learning and teaching what is really useful in a particular context. Clear roles. Individuals need to be able to understand what it is that what role do you carry as you teach, as you mentor, as you help them make decisions in terms of what they're doing, giving them guidelines, giving them parameters. Teamwork. What kinds of teams are appropriate with respect to your unit and your staff? When do they do things together? When do they do things separately? If you're in a field office, how should you divide the work, or what do they do for other clients as part of this team? In understanding concepts and attitudes is very important in helping the team be very successful. Engagement. This principle has to do with helping learners express their interest and their investment in the learning process. What is it that they want to do? What are their career goals? What are their career aspirations? Where do they want to go later in the organization? And accountability. The final principle that seeks to specify the goals of a process. What was proposed to be taught must be taught. What was proposed to be learned must be learned. And the skills intended to be gained must manifest or must be played out by each learner in terms